Hello. When we look at the economic decisions made by President Trump yesterday, a normal person might say, "What's this to me?" This is a matter that concerns customs, America, and Trump. No, no, my dear. Excuse me, if you're thinking about it this way, you're wrong, because it's related to the product you're buying. Don't think that when America, for example, imposes additional taxes on all countries in the world, and imposes, for example, a large amount on China or India, or some other countries whose purchases from here or there affect you, that this won't affect you. What does that mean? I came to tell you that prices will increase.
From the day of my election, the stock market went up in my first term 88%, with NASDAQ going up 155%, more than any president has ever had in any term in office, by far. And I think we're going to blow that away. And maybe the numbers won't show, but I think they're going to show much better than even those numbers.
President Trump made a set of decisions that no president in America has ever made before. We honestly don't know. Is he trying to test America and the American people and will make us say, "Let's make America great again," or is he going to take America backward? Or maybe Trump understands more than economists and understands everything, and we don't pay attention. I'm not here to make fun of anything. After this, America is accustomed to having things that export some of its products and don't tax them. At the same time, America is a first-class industrial country, in addition to being an agricultural country. No one can deny that. They have factories, companies, and huge investment companies in the field of industry. Trump came forward and said, "No, this talk won't work," he said, "because the truth is, there are some countries that suck America's blood. We import from them, but when we ship to them, they tax us. No, from our point of view, what can we do? This is our point of view." Trump says that we impose tariffs because we support the large industries that exist in America, instead of making American citizens buy something from a country in Asia or from a country in Europe. No, I encourage our own products, so I will raise the customs rate on imports, the things we import. For example, let's assume that an American t-shirt sells for $10, for example, and they import it from Europe for $10 as well. He said, "No, why would I let them have options? Just as they also collect customs from us, we also collect customs. Make them pay customs so that a t-shirt from Europe costs $12, so that when the American citizen comes to buy a t-shirt, he finds an American one for $10.
And they let it happen to an extent that nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
So Trump stood up in the Rose Garden yesterday and said, "What's the point? Let's make America great again, powerful again, and tax efficient again." He loves to collect money, but God help us, and this money collection doesn't come to America's and the world's minds. He's coming to experiment with some things. President Trump came and said we'll impose two types of taxes, general taxes on all countries at 10%. The truth is, there will also be taxes on other countries, and there will be retaliatory taxes. This is a reaction to what these other countries did to American exports. For example, but not limited to, he came to Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the UK and told you that taxes will remain as they are at 10%. By the way, with Egypt, it won't be considered 10% officially because there are also economic agreements between Egypt and the US that will be lower. By the way, I'm not an economic expert, so don't get me wrong, but this is very important news that will have an impact and repercussions on political situations in the world. He also came to some countries and said that there will be increased customs duties on them, meaning that we will take products, for example, from China. Customs will be 34%. The European Union will send us customs fees of 20%. India will be 24%. You have countries like, for example, the issue will have major repercussions, but he told you that not all products will be taxed now. First of all, this law will go into effect and be implemented from April 5th, but medicines, transportation, and metals, we will exempt these from taxes now. There will be no taxes on them, but this issue has very major repercussions.
But on the tariffs in particular, on the idea of trade is proportional to wealth. The last 70 years of international trade has been an exponential curve upwards, and the last 70 years of prosperity has been upwards also. We are richer because of trade with Canada, and so is Canada. Whenever you trade with somebody, when an individual buys somebody else's product, it's mutually beneficial or you wouldn't buy it. If the trade is voluntary, it's always beneficial. There is no Canada versus the U.S. The consumer wins when the price is the lowest price.
So, we talked about what Trump did. So, what is its impact on the rise in prices and dimensions? Its impact is that, for example, there are countries that export significantly in the electronics sector, like China, like Taiwan, like South Korea. Therefore, when these countries increase customs duties, this will be reflected in higher prices for America and, on the other hand, for other countries. Why? Because other countries, like you, will not stand idly by. They will take positions in response to what Trump did. This will lead to higher product prices, and this will lead to higher product prices. So, what do? You're in the middle. As a consumer of electronic devices, it will increase on you. It will increase on you because you're not living on a planet by yourself. You're sitting in the middle of the world watching a wrestling match between the big boys. Today, for example, clothing from Bangladesh and Vietnam, these countries are very famous for their clothing industries, will be exported to America and will be greatly affected. So, we have reactions to Trump's decision, namely that prices will rise. The political reactions are that China came and said, "No, what happened? This is what happened. We cannot remain silent about it." China is now taking retaliatory measures, meaning that China will also raise tariffs. This has resulted in the Chinese Ministry of Finance announcing that Beijing will impose a 34% tariff on all U.S. imports, starting April 10th. The European Commission's von der Leyen also spoke and said that these statements are historic and will upset the world. Scholz of Germany told you that these decisions were completely unnecessary. I mean, we have a group of major countries. I'm not talking to you about small countries. I'm talking to you about the European Union. I'm talking to you about China. I'm talking to you about the nerve center of European industry, Germany. All of them have different reactions. Now let's look at the impact of this issue. He told you that the impact of this issue on the expected short-term level will be a rise in prices, and in the long term, it will be a rise in prices on the global level. This is possible, he told you, but it could lead to an economic catastrophe.
Won't take chicken from America. They won't take lobsters from America. They hate our beef because our beef is beautiful and theirs is...
Later on, so today, in order not to bore you with the details, President Trump made a series of economic decisions that he is following, by the way, based on the American Constitution. He didn't do anything, by the way, without needing to refer them to the federal court or obtain permission from the American president. It is well known that in order to make a decision, enact a law, or make a decision, he must send it to the federal court. If the federal court says no, the court will stop him in his decisions. There are a series of decisions that Trump made, by the way, and the federal court will stop him, but this decision is his right to make, but it is a historic decision, a decision that no one has made before. Will we see in the coming period whether President Trump will emerge as a genius and ahead of his time, achieving unprecedented revenues for America, or whether President Trump, frankly, is following a policy that I know about everything and no one else knows, so listen to me. In the end, he will destroy America. Overall, this is the subject in all its simplicity. Thank you very much, and don't forget to support with a like. If it is the first time you see me, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.